Okay, so today's November 15th on Friday. It's been a week that I've been at my new shelter in Harlem, and today was my special and lucky day where I had to get all my stuff from storage. They informed me that I only had a week to get my stuff out of there, and due to work and stuff like that, I couldn't get it out of there until my day off. My average day morning starts at 4:30 in the morning. They wake us up at 6 a.m. in the morning every single day, but because there is 61 women in the facility and there's only 2 bathrooms on each floor, and there's 15 women on each floor, I have to get up 2 hours earlier just so I won't interfere or come with, any conflict or confrontation. So this is all my stuff. This is 4 bags. This is not even all my clothes. We're only allowed to bring in 2 bags with little small lockers that's skinnier than me. So I had to pack all this up, and now I have to take it to another storage. I have to take a cab over here to bring my stuff to take it in another storage. And today was the last day before they turned the women's shelter into a men's shelter. So I just wanted to share a part of my experience, and that's all.
We need the community. We need the community to help us speak out. During the summer, we did rallies. We went to every borough, every single borough, in front of every ACS building, and we rallied. And a lot of them even came and said, "You're doing a good job." Of course, they had to do it, on the down low. But, even they were saying, "You guys are doing a good job," because they know they're not being held accountable.
What message would you like to share with other parents that are experiencing this situation or that are in this situation right now? What message would you like to share with the parents?
That they should come forward, find people to tell, because most of the time, personal experience, nobody wants to talk about it. You don't want somebody to know that ACS is involved in your life. In the projects or in the city where we come from, it's not a good thing to have these people involved with you because they don't mean good. They destroy families. At some situations, they help the children. Yes, they really do. But for the most part, where you could help a family, you're destroying it. Instead of offering help, you just take the child, which rips the family apart. What about the other children in that home? No. The whole thing is hard. It's just ACS. Most people don't want to hear those letters. They don't want to hear it for anything. They don't even want to know you got a case. If your friends know you got a case, they don't want to be too close up because they don't want that to rub off on them. ACS has a bad rap, and I'm not sure they could ever shake that off, to be honest with you. I don't.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Lopez. I reside in Westchester County. I'm a parent that has been affected by the child welfare system. I'm here today pleading to any attorneys that is willing to help me, that believes that families should stay together. I've been affected with ACS, and my children have been out my care, and it's been a lot of hardship with trying to have them returned. And at this point, I do not have an attorney. My attorney withdrew himself from my case, leaving me without an attorney. I am in the trial process in Bronx Family Courts, and I am reaching out to anybody that would be willing to pick up my case. I am in dire need of an attorney. If anybody is listening, I implore anybody to just also come forward, to don't be silent. There's a lot of families that have been affected and by a system that continues to separate children and parents, both grandparents.
Okay, do you feel that the agency is working in your best interest? Do you feel like the caseworkers and supervisors are working to help you with getting your child back?
When I ask them what is their goal with me and my family, they always state that it's for reunification. But I observe other types of attitudes with them.
As far as what? What type of attitudes?
I see everything but reunification. As when we go to court, they kind of throw me under the bus. They make false accusations. They falsify documents. Lie on my character. Talk about me and my children's relationship in a negative light. And I just find it to be, unjust.
It's sad. It's sad that, here it is that I'm fighting for my kids to be a father, and that's not even good enough anymore. I wasn't raised to be like that. I was raised that you have kids, you take care of them. But it's to the point now where it's like I just want them to stop, because not only am I fighting for my daughters, but I got to go home. I got other kids that I got to take care of, and it's hard. It's hard trying to be a father to the kids that you do have when part of your family is gone.
Get across is, the family court system, they need some type of investigation. Things that are being done in there that are covered up, and somebody needs to investigate to see what the lawyers are doing, what the judges are doing.
They have a responsibility to protect the children, and in protecting children, it's not adopt them off to the first family that wants to adopt them. If they have blood relatives, they need to be with their family. And I just feel that that's not what they've been trying to do. We've been railroaded since day one, and all we want is to have the kids back.
Allow our youth to age out of the foster care system and become homeless as they are. The Administration for Children's Services has deemed it necessary to become the parental figure for these children. Therefore, we deem it necessary to hold them accountable. We have charged ourselves with the mission to reform the child welfare system, to expose the corrupt foster care agencies, and empower the youth and foster parents who come forward to share their experiences. Most of the general public is not aware that foster care is a human rights issue, in that more than half of the children entering foster care are children of color. African American children are overrepresented nationally if you look at the statistics. The disparity is caused by the over-reporting of hospital and school personnel, as well as other individuals in the community who tend to over-report minority families. It is evidence that race is a predictor in the decision to place children into the foster care system. This racial disproportionality needs to be the focal point as a critical policy and practice issue within the child welfare system. We must also ask ourselves if our children are really benefiting from the foster care system and are given the opportunity to thrive, when nearly half of the children in foster care have chronic medical problems and are misdiagnosed and over-medicated. About half of the children under 5 years old in foster care have developmental delays, or so that's what they're diagnosed with. Under 80% of our children in foster care have serious emotional problems. The point of today's forum is that we are calling for action. I'm asking the community, I am asking you to join our campaign in order to promote change. We need to be vocal, we need to be visible, we need to be vigilant, and we need to be consistent. We need to take a stance and begin to take back the power within our own communities. Our youth are tired. They are sick of broken promises. They are tired of being taken advantage of, and they do not deserve mediocrity. They do not deserve the mediocrity that they receive from the system that is legally responsible for their well-being. You should no longer tolerate the ineptness of the caseworkers, the supervisors, the law guardians, or attorney for child as they're called now. Whoever falls within the category representing them, they should no longer tolerate this. The Administration for Children's Services, as well as the foster care system, has failed our youth, and that should be clear. They have let them down more than once. Our youths have no place to call home, and this is a result of frequent moves, inconsistent decision-making on part of the staff. That includes the caseworkers, the attorneys, as well as the law guardians, including the Administration for Children's Services. There is a lack of sensitivity, a lack of empathy, a lack of...
Parents and advocates protested at foster care agencies across the Bronx today. About 50 people carrying signs and shouting that they would not be silenced marched on several storefronts. They're saying that those agencies do not provide enough support to parents and children. That means that when kids age out of the foster care system, they don't have the help they need to stay out of the city's shelter system.
In order to get more foster parents, we need to get the support for them. So we have the services put in place for the foster parents so they'll want to stay. So they'll feel supported with these agencies. When they bring complaints and concerns, it won't be swept under the rug.
We're here to make some changes, to make them accountable for the things they are doing and what they're not doing.
A support group for foster families is calling on city agencies to do more to help kids who are aging out of the foster care system. Members of the Foster Parent Advocacy Foundation protested outside of the Queens Family Court in Jamaica Monday. The group says the Administration for Children's Services is not providing enough support for young adults once they turn 21, and their foster parents are no longer legally responsible for them.
Once they're aging out, they're becoming homeless. They're going into the homeless shelter. So a lot of them are making up the homeless population.
I was a foster care child. I've been in the system for 16 years. And once I turned 21, I was kicked out of my house. And now, unfortunately, I'm living in a woman's shelter and I have no support. I have nowhere to go.
In a statement to New York One, an ACS spokesperson says, protecting and promoting the safety and well-being of the children in our care are obligations that we take extremely seriously. We value the love and care that our committed foster parents provide to these children and work hard to make sure that they are supported.
One Astoria woman is speaking out against a Jamaica-based family center, claiming the organization caused the unfair removal of her foster children. Joined by members of the organization Fostering Progressive Advocacy, or FPA, foster parent Tricia Rowan says that a caseworker with SCO Family Services falsely accused her of abuse and then reported her to the Administration of Children's Services. Rowan says she was then denied the legal 10-day warning period and hearing before the kids were removed. She is also concerned because 2 of the children have severe autism and claims the kids have not been receiving the special services needed. Organizers with FPA say they are not only fighting for Rowan, but for the legal rights of all foster parents.
I'm here not just for the 3 kids that I had, but for any child that has something like this done to them. It's just not fair. It's terrible.
The agencies feel as though there's no one that they need to answer to, and ACS is really not holding the agencies accountable, and there's no oversight, and so therefore leaving children and families very vulnerable.
We reached out to SCO Family Services, who referred us to ACS. In a statement, ACS says, quote, while we cannot comment on individual cases, we will continue to collaborate with all parties involved to keep children safe.
An East New York woman is fighting to keep her family together. She wants to adopt her nephew, but she says because of flaws with the Administration for Children's Services, her nephew's stuck in foster care. News 12's Kenneth Vernon takes us to downtown Brooklyn, where community members are rallying for answers.
The goal is to reunite 9-year-old Lorenzo Mason with his brothers and sisters in East New York, and that's why community members were out here rallying in front of family court. His aunt Tracy Breaker says 5 years ago, her sister gave up custody of her 5 children. Breaker was able to get 3 of the children, but Lorenzo was placed with the foster family. Now she says the family wants to adopt Lorenzo. Breaker blames ACS for refusing to make her his guardian and instead placed him in a foster home. She just wants her nieces and nephews to all be together.
We don't see him on weekends, holidays, birthdays. Now he has a birthday April 7th coming up, and it's been over 3 years that we have not seen him.
Breaker says she's filing an appeal to stop this adoption. Meanwhile, she's also fighting for custody of a 5th sibling, which she says is in a similar situation as Lorenzo. In downtown Brooklyn, Kenneth Vernon, News 12.
We reached out to ACS about the matter. We're still waiting for a response.
for foster care children are calling attention to what they call system flaws today. The Foster Parent Advocacy Foundation rallied in front of family court today in downtown Brooklyn. They're demanding more support services for kids aging out of the foster care system. The group claims ACS and its attorneys have dropped the ball, allowing foster kids who have reached 18 years old to fall through the cracks. The group says without better services, many of them will end up in jail or homeless.
It is ACS' job and the contracted agencies to make sure that these kids get proper services as well as housing when they discharge out of foster care.
I just want the foster agencies to actually do their job and pay attention to the foster youth.
Foster Care Reform Campaign will hold protest rallies throughout the 5 boroughs through August 16th.
Ralsina Stevenson says there are some things people outside of the city's foster care system take for granted.
Just having people and your own family around you for support, knowing where your next meal is coming from.
She says after 10 years in the system, she expected the Administration for Children's Services to make her load a little lighter when she turned 21.
When I went back to my agency and asked them for help because I didn't have an apartment, I didn't have housing or anything, they told me that they couldn't help me because I aged out.
That's why foster children rallied outside of several city agencies in the borough on Monday, demanding more support for kids and foster parents as well.
Support foster parents!
ACS says it's doing everything it can to protect and nurture its children and parents, but foster parents here say they aren't feeling that support.
It's not easy, and they weren't supporting me.
Ernetta Caring says when dealing with what she calls unfounded accusations of child abuse, ACS left her feeling abandoned. The Foster Parent Advocacy Foundation says 90% of child abuse cases that come to their offices are unproven, yet the administration doesn't step up like it should.
It takes sometimes 6 months to a year for a foster parent to get these false allegations clear. And sometimes they do not have the money to be able to afford to get an attorney.
These protesters say they'll continue to rally at agencies across the city until ACS listens to their demands and makes some serious changes. On Atlantic Avenue, Yvette Feliciano, News 12, Brooklyn.
You have failed. This crowd rallied for the rights of the foster parents, which in many cases the parents say they're not even aware of. They also wanted to bring awareness to the foster children becoming homeless after they turn 21, which is when they age out of the system. The Foster Parent Advocacy Foundation says the kids are not getting the right support from administration, children's services, and other agencies when it comes to helping them with employment and housing.
A lot of the times these children are not getting the independent living skills that they need to age out of foster care, so they're not equipped to be able to go to college, or a lot of them don't even be able to go to school because they don't have the caseworkers following through on the supportive services that they're supposed to get at the end of the day.
This was the group's first rally. However, they plan on rallying from now until August 14th across the 5 boroughs.
Advocates are important because you always need to have some agitation in the system. I think of advocates as the people that are asking the questions and pushing the envelope and not settling for the way that things are. If we didn't have advocates, we wouldn't have children attending public schools. It took those advocates that said, why not? Why is my child less than that child that lives down the street? Because I don't think he is. If we didn't have advocates, we wouldn't have adults with disabilities living in the community and working in corner stores. It took advocates to say, I have skills to offer, I have things I want to do in the community, why aren't you letting me in? That's why we need advocates. They make change, they ask questions, and they're impatient. I think it's important for advocates to be respectfully impatient.